Michael, we're going to start with you for what we're watching. What is happening on Stargirl?
Oh, it's quite a mysterious time in Blue Valley. Um, so yes, the gambler, which I mentioned last week, has sadly been killed by a strange entity that we don't know how. But Cindy, Courtney's former arch enemy, was standing over the body with a gun, and she was like, "I didn't do it," even though she's made life difficult for everyone in the Justice Society.
Was she
She's
exonerated this week?
It's very interesting. There are two people in the JSA who truly believe she killed the gambler, and there are two other people in the JSA who don't. So they came up with the idea that the gambler's laptop has gone missing. So they were like, the only way to figure out who killed the gambler is to find who stole his laptop. So they spend the whole episode going through suspects to try and figure it out. And Starman, who returned at the start of the season or the end of last season, he came from the dead. The staff still works for him, but it works for Courtney as well. It's kind of like that thing. Do you remember in the final season of Buffy, Reed, when there were all the Slayers at once? They reworked the magic that there were all the Slayers at once when there should only have been one. And didn't the second Slayer come into power when Buffy temporarily died or something like that? But anyway, so there was the spell was awkward because there were two at once, and that should never have happened. This is the same situation here. There shouldn't be two people who can wield the staff, but now that Starman's back, him and Courtney both are able to wield the staff at the same time. So he took the staff for a walk through Blue Valley and accused the Shed, our old-fashioned English gentleman who was a villain last season, a major member of the ISA, and he was not happy to see the gambler back in town. But that doesn't change the fact that the Shed did the right thing and saved the town from Eclipso. So even now he's just in Blue Valley trying to find a good old-fashioned cup of tea. But Starman does not like the Shed, and he accused him of killing the gambler. The Shade was not happy about that. It started a lot of drama, but it basically, wherever Starman goes, drama follows him because he's been dead for years. He doesn't know how to conduct himself, and Courtney's conducted a far better, more tighter JSA than he ever did. So he's struggling to fit back into the mold now that she's done a much better job. And
wait, a teenager bested him when it comes to running a society.
Exactly. Wow. It's a little awkward, right? And the Shed actually likes Courtney in the new JSA. He calls them the children, but he hated the old JSA. So that's a bit of a conflict there. But long story short, Starman went to apologize to the Shed and then ended up accusing him again. So that started a little bit of a war. So the Shade has now left Blue Valley for a little while, but he did prove that he was innocent because he was actually at the cafe teaching the woman behind the counter how to make the perfect cup of tea. So he was not there when the gambler was killed. So that rules him out for now. Meanwhile, the Crocs, who were Courtney's new next door neighbor, they were ISA villains in season 1. They didn't appear that much, but Crusher, the husband of the husband and wife pairing, he did show up outside the gambler's trailer and angrily sped away. So clearly he had something to talk to the gambler about and then decided against it. And at the very end of the episode, he said to his wife, they can never find out what we've done, which obviously then is suggesting that maybe did they kill the gambler. But perhaps the biggest shock of all was that after all that was done, and you clearly see that there are more suspects in town, we cut to Cindy, and what does she have in her possession? The gambler's laptop. So
Cindy, I trusted you.
I still trust her. I still think it's a red herring.
No, Cindy.
So there's a lot of up in the airness right now with who killed the gambler. There's a lot of conflict at the same time. And one other little thing, he should be the lead male character, but he's not. He's been very rarely featured. Long story short, Cameron, who's an artist, he's a classmate of Courtney's, and he is being set up as her long-term love interest. But his father was the main villain, Icicle, and he never knew that when Icicle.
That's a cool name, Icicle.
Isn't it? Icicle was the leader of the JSA, or the ISA, sorry, and he was killed in season 1 after his plan went wrong. But Cameron thinks his father died a hero. He's not aware of the fact that his father was a villain. And now his ice powers are starting to develop as well, slowly. And it's having such a negative effect on him because he's understandably depressed because his father was killed. And his ice powers are now starting to be influenced by that. So the two of them are having a very negative impact on his mental health. So I do think he's being set up as an outside suspect. Could he have killed the gambler? Even though he never met the gambler. He doesn't know who the gambler is, but all we know is that the gambler was killed by a very sharp object right to the heart. Cindy's alias is Chev, and she has she has Chevs on her arms because she was experimented on by her father. So
Cindy, girl, it's not looking good for you.
But on the other hand, Icicle Jr. Cameron can shoot icicles out of his hand. So could he have been the one who killed the gambler? So right now, anybody could have killed the gambler. All we know is that it wasn't the Shed. The Shed has left Blue Valley in a black cloud. Meanwhile, there's infighting. The girlies are fighting all over Blue Valley. Nobody knows who can trust anyone. Courtney wants to believe the best in everyone, but Starman's using this whole, oh, I'm a veteran, I've been here before with the ISA, you can't trust these people, and it's causing a lot of conflict right now. But it's a very interesting time to be a resident of Blue Valley. And the official story is that the gambler was killed by a tornado, a freak tornado. So it's kind of, no one believes it, and there's a lot of uncertainty in town. And next, my little sneak preview of episode 3 is that I believe it's called The Blackmail, and it will focus on the Crocs, who are the neighbors, as in, could they be the potential suspects? Because obviously Crusher said at the very end of the episode they must never find out what we did. They were major villains now in season 1 and 2, but they get on very well with the Whitmores, Courtney's family. The wife, who is called Tigress, she is starting to bond with Courtney's mother. They started cooking together. They're besties now all of a sudden. So, and meanwhile Crusher, he has this kind of love-hate relationship with Courtney's stepfather, because he runs the local gym, and he's always like, hey bud, you're bulking up. So he's very lighthearted, but now they're hiding a dark secret. So episode 3 will focus on them, and judging by the promo, I said judging like the promo, like I haven't seen it, but judging by the promo, Starman, being Starman, will go straight in, and he attacks them in a supermarket because he wants answers. And again, he still hasn't figured out that you cannot approach things like this in a small town. So no doubt that will cause more conflict. And we haven't seen much of the Crocs this season, and they're series regulars this season. So I'm looking forward for everyone else to see an episode focused on the Crocs. It's going to be a good one.
Series regulars, they don't do that for nothing.
Exactly.
Who plays Starman?
Joel McHale.
Oh, that was going to be my guess, and I just wanted to double check.
He appeared in like the first and last episode of season 1 only through flashbacks, and then he appeared and then we find out at the end of season 1 that wait, Starman's actually alive. They spent all of season 2 bringing him to Blue Valley. A supernatural demon rose from the grave, destroyed the town, and then was silenced before Starman finally showed up. And then he finally showed up in the season 2 finale, and now he's finally a series regular through season 3. They've given him the special appearance by credit, so I do get this feeling that if there is a 4th season, he may not be part of it, because what's the point in having Starman and Stargirl in a show called Stargirl? So I don't know, but he's a series regular at the moment, but I just have the sneaking suspicion that he won't be a series regular in season 4. And yes, I'm manifesting season 4, but we'll have to wait to get to that point. All I know is that next week's episode is a very Starman and Croc heavy episode, and no doubt Starman's going to make all the wrong decisions all over again, because that's what he's been doing this season.
Yeah, he's acting like a Marvel hero. How are you fighting somebody in the grocery store? Exactly. Not in a small town, sir.
Nobody's worried about the cleanup.
Shameful.